Hello everyone, a very good evening. Welcome to the sessions of Docker and Kubernetes. So before I dive into the concepts, there are any new students who has joined this session, or else there are any old students out there who's joined the session? I just want to know about that. Any old students? Okay, fine then. Let's start the journey towards the Docker and Kubernetes. I know that there are a few people who are trying to uh, work around what is Docker, what is Kubernetes. So there are a few people who doesn't know what is Docker and what is Kubernetes. So that's the reason you are here to learn the concepts. Okay. So there are the few people who doesn't know about AWS cloud also. There are the people who doesn't know what is meant by containers. There are the people who doesn't even know what is a server. Okay. Is there are any people in these three categories who are attending this session? So here we are going to, so now don't worry about that. So I don't know what is server. I don't know what is cloud. I don't know what is container. I don't know what is Docker. I don't know what is Kubernetes. No need to worry about that. Here, a trainer is there who will train you, or else the trainers, we are here for you to make you understand from the basics. So now what is a server? These are other questions that everyone can easily understand. Now, in this session, what we are going to discuss is, so what you are going to learn, what you are about to learn, or else about to get trained. And the second one is how you have to, how you will get trained, which means that in this you are going to get all the prerequisites, syllabus and everything you are going to get. And about your trainer, about trainer, and then we will deep dive into the concepts of Docker. Okay, so mostly from tomorrow, I will start the Docker. So today it will be an introduction only. So tomorrow onwards, we will be going into the Docker and Docker concepts. So first things first. So what you are about to learn. So you are going to learn about Docker and Kubernetes, which is meant by containerization platform. Okay. Container platform. Okay. What is this containerization? Why we are calling it as a containerization platform? We will go into deep dive into the concepts. But here, try to understand, we are learning containerization, or else we are learning about the containers. Rather than speaking that you are learning about the Docker, you are learning about the containers. So most importantly, now what is a Docker? Docker is an engine or a platform that helps you to run the containers. Run the containers. Okay. So Docker is not the application holding mechanism. So who will run the applications? Applications, whatever the applications, either it might be a web application, or else it might be a Java application, Python application, any application, or databases, everything will be managed inside the containers only. So where these containers are stored in the Docker. Simple example. Now, if you browse any website, then you need to have a browser, like either it might be a Chrome, or else it might be Edge, it might be Firefox. Like that, you will select which type of browser you have to choose, and you will go for browsing. So in browsing, you will have so many applications. Either it might be a streaming application, or else it might be a or else it might be a web application, which is nothing but website, or else it might be a music related application, or else it might be somewhere like any documentations, drives, everything will be there. Mail applications will be there. So like that. So in the browser, you can open these many number of applications. In the same manner, you are having, try to compare a browser with the Docker engine. Okay, container engine. There is a platform to hold all the containers. What is that platform? So if you are working with the Docker, Docker is the platform. Containerd is there. By default, in Linux, you will get containerd. It is also a containerization platform. Like in Docker, you are going to get containerd. Or else you are having something called as RKT. It is also a containerization platform, like your browser, how your browsers are the Chrome, Edge, Firefox. In the same manner, under containerization platforms, you are having Docker, containerd, RKT. Okay, like that, there are so many other containerization platforms are also available. Now, what we will run inside this containerization platforms, either it might be a Docker or containerd. Inside the browser, what you are running? You are running YouTube. YouTube is a streaming application. Okay. You are running a e-commerce web application like Amazon or Flipkart. You can open that. Or else you can listen to the music. Okay, music application will be there. Or else you will have the mail application like Gmail, Outlook. So all these applications are opened in a single Chrome browser. In the same manner, in the Docker or else in the containerd or else in the RKT, so you can run the containers. You can run the containers. What we will do with the containers, what we are running inside the containers. So inside the containers, you can run the applications. You can run the applications. Which type of applications? Either you can go with Java application, Python applications, or web applications, like either it might be HTML pages or whatnot. So everything, HTML, Bootstrap, like that. So these are all comes under the web application with the help of certain tools called as Nginx utility and Apache Tomcat. We can run Apache Tomcat inside the container. Okay. Not only that, you can run somewhere like what else, what other ways that we are having, we can run all this inside the containers. So in a container, you can run these type of applications also. So where these containers are hold, these containers are hold on the containerization platform called as Docker or containerd or RKT, like your browsers, where these applications are streaming either on Chrome, Edge, and Firefox. So in the same manner, these containers, you can run the container, same containers you can run in the containerd, the same containers you can run in the RKT, the same containers you can run in the Docker also. So it's not a very big differentiation. Okay. So that is what you are going to learn. So here you are going to learn about the containers. So how to create the containers, what you are going to learn about the containers, how containers will communicate. Containers will communicate. Inside the Docker, if you are having multiple number of computers, sorry, containers, one container has to communicate with the another container, how they will communicate. This will comes under the Docker networking. Okay. Now, okay, you are talking about the containers, but first of all, I want the basics. Basics in the sense, how I can create the container, how to create a container, and what is the life cycle? What is the life cycle of the container? So this we will cover under Docker architecture and Docker life cycle. So with the help of these two approaches, we are going to cover how to create a container and how to what is the life cycle of a container. So create, run, start, stop, pause, and unpause. These are all comes under the life cycle of a container. So those we will cover in the Docker architecture and Docker life cycle. And when you come to the how containers will communicate with each other, they will communicate with the help of, like, there will be a networking. So here when we are working around with the Docker, we are going to work with the Docker network. Okay. So and next what we are going to work around is how applications will be created as a container. Now I am having a Java application. or else I am having a web application, or else I am having a Python application or Ruby application, Flask application. So I'm having an application. How these applications will be converted as a containers. So if you see in general, in your there is an application that should be running inside the computer. If an application has to run inside the computer, first thing you need to have an operating system. Inside the computer, you need to have an operating system so that the user will interact and install the application. And the application will keep on running. In the same manner, how inside the container, how we can run the applications, how to run the applications in a container. This we will cover under Docker images. So nothing but creating a Docker image. So that Docker image will run the application. So whatever the applications that you want, you can run inside the Docker images. Okay. So this we will cover. And later what we are going to discuss. So containers are stateless. Remember this point. I will come back this whenever we are discussing about the something new. Containers are stateless. What is meant by stateless? Whenever the container is deleted, so inside the container there is an application running. For example, in my computer, for example, a Google Chrome is running. Okay, suddenly if I uninstall that Google Chrome, what about the data? The data which we have, search data or else bookmarks, everything will be deleted. In the same manner, containers are stateless, which means that containers, whenever they are running, suddenly if they are stopped, they are dead. So then the data inside the containers will not be saved. So it's a temporary data. Data inside the containers are temporary. Okay, now how we will make that data as permanent data, persistent data, that we are going to learn in the Docker volumes. That we are going to learn in the Docker volumes. And later what we are going to discuss after Docker volume. So if there are some 10 containers at a time, I want to start. So if I want to start all the containers at a time. So if you see, we can start only one container one time. We can start one application at one time. So there is a dependency saying that one application is dependent on the another application. Until the first application is started, the second application won't start. If the second application is not starting, the third or fourth application will not start. So if there are dependencies, if I have to run the multiple applications simultaneously or at a time, then how we can run the containers at a time. So to run the containers at a time, or else to start the containers at a time, we are having a concept called as Docker Compose. With the help of Docker Compose, we can work around with that. And later, so up to now, whatever you have seen here, whatever you have visualized over here, this is only a standalone Docker application. Okay, in a single server, we can work. Do you understand what you are going to learn? Any questions here? Do you understand what you are about to learn? Any questions here? From the beginning. Is my voice audible?
Yes.
Okay. So are you able to understand what I am saying you here?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So I think everyone is with me only. So if you have any questions, you can ask me now. Okay. But that's okay. Now let me complete this. So now whenever we are discussing about these containers and Docker, we are talking only with a single infra, single server. Now, if I am having multiple server environment, multi-server environment for high availability, I want to run the containers. I want to run, or else I want to run the containers in multi-server environment. Okay, or else I can simply call it as a cluster. I want to run that in a cluster. How I can run that inside a cluster? So how I am going to run those containers inside a cluster? So where in the Docker itself, we are having a concept called as a Docker swarm. So it is an orchestration tool. Orchestration tool which will manage the entire containers. So in the final topic of Docker is Docker Swarm, which is an orchestration tool. If you see here from the beginning, what I am trying to explain you is the first things first, we are going to learn about the Docker architecture, nothing but container architecture and container lifecycle, Docker networking, Docker images, Docker volumes, Docker compose, and Docker Swarm. This totally covers the Docker, where we are going to wind up with the orchestration tool. Docker Swarm is also one of the orchestration tool where you are going to learn about how we are going to manage the multiple containers in the cluster environment. If one server is down, so if one server, there are some 10 to 15 servers are there. Suppose one server is down, how the remaining servers will manage, how a worker node will manage, how a manager will be there. So everything you will understand in that orchestration tool. So this is about your Docker containerization, Docker concept. So once you understand about this containerization tool, especially Docker Swarm is not used in the production environment. It is normally used in the development environment. Then we are going with a concept of Kubernetes. So what is this Kubernetes? Kubernetes is also an orchestration tool like Docker Swarm. Okay, it is also a management tool where you are going to learn about lots and lots of things with the orchestration or else with the managing of your cluster or else managing of your containers. So whatever the Kubernetes that you are going to learn here, the Kubernetes is into the production grade, not in the development grade. Development grade, I am not going to tell you on the what I can say, uh, simple concept. I am not going to tell you like simple setup. I am not going to work around. So we are going with the actual production cluster. With the help of that production cluster, we are going to work around with the Kubernetes. Okay, not with the development environment. So in general, how we are going to create the cluster creation with the help of tools called as kops, kubeadmin, or else there is a rancher. With the help of these tools, how we are going to create the cluster. And the next one is what are the components inside the Kubernetes cluster? Components of Kubernetes cluster. And the next one is services of Kubernetes cluster. How I am going to expose my application for the end users. That comes under the services. Okay, services of KATS. Either it might be cluster IP, load balancer, or node port like that. And the next one is ingress controllers. Don't get overwhelmed about this. We are going to go with a very smooth and easy manner of explanation. You don't need to worry about all these uh, new terminologies. Okay, ingress controller, probes, and then advanced scheduling. Okay, and then what we are going to do are back rules. Okay, and storage, like volumes, whatever the Docker volumes that we have described in the Kubernetes also, there is a concept of storage. So, and later we will discuss about the monitoring and logging. So monitoring with the help of Prometheus and Grafana, and logging with the help of Kibana, Elasticsearch, and Fluentd. So these are the entire concepts that we are going to discuss in the Kubernetes. So overall, this is the content that you are going to cover, or that we are going to cover in the next upcoming 30 days. Sir, is it enough to cover the topics in 30 days? Of course, it is enough for me to cover the entire topics within 30 days. If there is any chance, we will work around with the within Saturday and Sunday also, we are going to work around. So this is about your concepts, how you are going to learn what is what and everything. And the next one is from when the classes will commence every day at 8 o'clock, 8 p.m. in the evening, you will have your classes started. And the next one is what I can say, 1 hour of duration will be there. And what are the prerequisites to learn these concepts? Do I need to have any knowledge? Yes, basics of AWS, Why? Because we are going to work with the servers which are present in AWS. So if you have a basic understanding about instances, VPCs, that's more than enough for me. And you need to have a laptop with a good internet speed. That's it. So these are the prerequisites to learn. And fee will be given by the DurgaSoft itself. So the classes will be commenced from Monday to Friday. Okay. So weekdays only. Weekends you won't have the sessions, except one weekend we will have the entire session and we will wind up the things. For that thing, I'm going to take only one weekend. So this is about your entire syllabus and how you have to learn. I hope everything I have given for you. If you have any questions, you can ask me now. Questions from your end. Next 5 minutes is in your hands. Questions from your end. Hello. Any questions?
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, yeah, this is Sricharan here.
Yes, sir.
Yes, so like you said, simple things. So simple things will not be discussed. Like, so is Docker Swarm a simple thing, or will you be in depth explaining about it?
Simple thing will not be discussed in the sense
Hmm.
when we are creating. I am talking about the Kubernetes. Okay,
Okay.
simply see, if you are working in a company, if you want to go and work with a Kubernetes in a company,
Hmm.
if I tell you the cluster creation in the mini cube,
Hmm.
okay, will be useful for you? Okay, you don't know. See, you are
Hmm.
not into the concept, so you don't know about that. But in the
Hmm.
companies, every company will be working around with the cluster. If I don't create a original cluster and show you that original in the sense, if I don't create a cluster and tell you that this is how you are going to work in the company, is it feasible for you to understand the concept? In a single computer, in a single laptop, I can tell you the entire Kubernetes, but that is not the case, right?
Yes.
So that is what simple thing which I said.
Okay.
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 It is not about the concepts which you are going to learn.
Okay. 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 Since you okay, I thought since Docker Swarm is only used for development, I was just assuming it. Sorry.
No, 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 no. That's okay. So Docker Swarm is the main concept for your Kubernetes. Whatever
Hmm.
the services or else whatever the architecture that we follow in the Docker Swarm, the same algorithm we will follow in the Kubernetes.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Hmm.
Any further questions? Anything you want to ask me?
So one last doubt. So can we consider a container like an operating system?
No.
Okay.
Operating system requires kernel, but container doesn't require kernel.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So containers will be depending on the host operating system. Okay. Container is an environment
Mm.
which will have only binaries and libraries. It won't have the operating system.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm.
See, if you want to, for example, I want to run an application. Do I need to really install the application, or else if I have the binary, can't I run the application? So there are two ways to run the application. Either you have to install the application manually inside the computer,
Mm.
or else if you have that binary, so with the help of that binary, you can run the application. There are two ways.
Yes.
Okay. In the same manner, for a container, if you want to run an machine, okay, then you require an operating system where you have to install the operating system. Okay, when
Mm.
you
Mm.
install the operating system, the kernel and everything will be installed. Now, the point is when you are installing an operating system, it will take lots of space, which will make the, what I can say, if you want to transfer that machine from one location to the another location, it will be heavier. Heavier in
Mm.
the sense, the size,
Yes.
it will be in GBs. Okay.
Mm.
But whenever you are working with the containers, you don't need to install the operating system. You just get the binaries, libraries and binaries. So with the help of that, you will create an environment such that you can run your application. And if you want to transfer that container from one place to the another place, it will be lightweighted. You can simply, within what I can say, MBs, you will get the image, and with that image can be transferred from one location to the another location very simply. And you can deploy the containers in the production environment in the another location also. So that's the reason why the containers are becoming popular. Okay.
Okay.
So let me give you a small example. For example, you are having a very big car. Okay,
Mm.
a very big car. It is also a mode of transport, right?
Mm.
So
Mm.
if you want, sir, it's very simple, sir. We can ride the car. You can say that. If you want to take your car from India to America, just for
Mm.
example. So then compare the size, compare that how you have to pay lots and lots amount for the cargo. But if you want to
Mm.
transfer simply a bicycle, how it will be. So if you compare these two things, there will be some similarity that it is very easy to transfer a smaller object than the heavier object. In the same manner, containers will be a lightweighted, and you can simply create the containers. You don't need to uh, take so much of time. You don't need to work around like installing, checking out the applications and everything. You can simply create the containers. But when you come to the operating system, or else you come to the virtual, we'll discuss about that. What is meant by virtualization? What are the different types of virtual machines that we are having? But
Okay.
if you want to create an operating system, and the inside the operating system, if you want to create an environment, then that will be a very, very difficult task. Okay.
Okay.
So,
Mm.
but containers are very easy for you to create.
Okay.
Understood?
Mm. Yes.
Yeah. Any further questions? Questions, please. I know there are the developers. I know there are the people why we are learning. So I want you to explain about your expectations towards learning this course, and later we will work around what are your expectations, whether we are going to meet it or not. I will tell you about that. So what are your first expectations of learning this course? What are your expectations? What you are going to learn in this course? What's your expectation? What's your expectation towards this course?
Okay. Can I go first? Okay. Hello.
Yeah, yeah, you can. Yeah.
Yeah, my expectation. So I'm already working. I'm working as a data scientist. So in my company, it's a startup. So we want to deploy our Python applications or machine learning applications. As of now, we are deploying it in a Flask application and creating REST APIs.
Mm-hmm.
But in future, we want to move towards containerized applications.
Mm-hmm.
So previously, like peripherally, in a surface level, I've just about created a Docker image without
Mm-hmm.
knowing the basics, just for getting
Okay.
an interest
Okay.
purpose,
Mhm.
rather than just hearing about Docker and Kubernetes. So in a peripheral level, I have tried. So, but in deeper level, like volumes, mount, how the networking between different containers, communication between different containers, these are all, though it might be basic, but still I need to learn. So
Yeah, yeah.
I want, yeah, from the basics till Kubernetes. That is my expectation. Other than,
By the end of the thing, by the end of the course, everyone will be professionalized on the Docker and Kubernetes. I won't say you will become experts. Only when you work on the concepts, then only you will become the experts.
mm,
You are
okay.
right now, you are learning the concepts. Okay. So,
Okay.
but once you have completed this course and go outside, I think you might be easily understanding how to create an image, how to create the Docker container, how to work with the Kubernetes.
Mm-hmm.
But once you have joined in a company, or once you got a project where you can run the Kubernetes, then automatically you can simply work around. So you don't need to get learning and learning. You can simply become an expertise. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it from my side.
Okay, any further questions? Any further questions? Yeah, thank you, Srishan. I will come back to you later. Guys, there are so many candidates who are attending. At least only Sricharan is talking. Any another candidate who is interested to share your what I can say expectations, or else whether we are going to meet it or not, we will understand. No, yes. If you want, if you are unable to tell me, just give your or also give your expectation in the chat box also. I will try to read it out and I will try to explain you what are your questions. I will give you the answers for you also.
Yeah, one last question from my side.
Mhm.
So along with the recorded videos, will we be getting any PDF study material type for conceptualize or not?
For every concept, you are having the PDF, you are having the Word documents, you are
Okay.
having the videos, and at the same time, you will get the whatever the practiced YML formats, manifest files, everything, every small material also you are going to get. Don't worry.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, guys. I hope you are familiar or okay with my introduction. And I don't want to take so much time to go into the topic. From tomorrow onwards, we are going to start the Docker and Kubernetes, and we'll work around with all the concepts. Okay, so this is the first day, so I'm winding up the session here. So try to understand one thing. My sessions are not, sorry, my sessions are not like a one way of communication. It's a mutual way of communication. Everyone has to communicate, everyone has to speak, everyone has to express their ideas. Okay, so that will be the way of communication, that will be way of my training. Be open for everything, whatever the doubts you might have. There might be small doubts or bigger doubts. Even I am not expertized. Okay, of course I am having some 13 years of experience in the training. I can tell you each and every concept, but there will be a trainer who will be training from 40 years, but still there might be some concepts which are a little bit difficult for him also. So I'm not saying that everyone is super knowledgeable or super talented. There will be the people, but the point is you don't need to feel ashamed of asking a very little question. Am I asking a small question? That even that understanding will not be there for some other people. So be confident, be responsive in the session, and don't mute your mics. Don't mute your mics in the sense, whenever I ask you for your question, please unmute yourself and discuss. So when you will get the knowledge, whenever there is a discussion happens, until the discussion is happening, the knowledge will not be increased. Okay, so if I say one thing, I will say, so Docker is a containerized platform. Inside the Docker, we are having volumes. The volumes has to be connected in this manner. I want to install only Docker is there. There is a concept called as WSL is also there. Windows subsystem for Linux. In that also, sorry, in that also we can run the containers. Yeah. We can create the environments. So nobody knows about that. So if there is a mutual way of communication, then only you will be expertized. If you are sitting silently in the session, or else if you are sleeping in the session, if you are doing some another work in the session, this session will not help you. Sorry to say this, but this is the fact. I hope you understand the session. In the next session, we are going to start the Docker. That's it from my end. Have a nice day, and we'll meet in the next session. Bye. Yes, Sandeep, tell me. Sandeep, you raised the hand. Tell me.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
So we are having up a Docker and Kubernetes, right? In the we are using most of uh, we are preferring as a Kubernetes rather than going for Docker, right?
No. Here, without Docker, Kubernetes cannot be.
Means, without Docker, means we can create images in Kubernetes also, right?
Any container. That's why I said you. We are learning about the containers. We are not going with the Docker. Okay, Docker is a base application that we are trying to learn. Okay. Without
Okay,
Docker also, we can create the container with the help of container D. And again, container D is a containerization platform. Able to get
okay,
it?
yeah,
Okay. So now the point what you have to understand here is Kubernetes is not a separate concept. Docker is not a separate concept. These two are not two different entities. If you
okay,
want to create Kubernetes cluster, if you want to create Kubernetes pods, deployments, or stateful sets, anything, the base is inside the pods, you will run the containers. Where you will get the containers from, where you will get the containers? Obviously, from a containerization platform. Either it might be containerd or else Docker.
okay.
Understand?
Understood.
See,
And one more thing, here we are having up a cloud of AWS, Azure, and GCP.
yes,
Means here three things are using the containers of Docker and Kubernetes only, or
yes.
else Azure
See,
is
the tool
different
which
and
I said,
GCP is
the tool which I said, COPS, Kubernetes operation. It's a cloud way of creating the Kubernetes cluster. But the point is, COPS is only used in the AWS. Still, they are in the development phase for the Azure and GCP. Okay. So that's why
okay.
I
In
said,
Azure we are using COPS,
no,
Azure,
in AWS.
Kubernetes,
AWS, we are
AWS
using COPS.
COPS, whereas GCP.
GCP is a separate tool. So Kubernetes is actually originated from Google.
Google.
They
Okay,
have given
okay,
it for the some another. I will tell you the company name. They gave it to the company, another company, and they are right now running the Kubernetes. But actually,
okay,
was started by Google. Okay.
okay, okay, okay. And one more thing,
Mhm.
means when we are using Kubernetes and when we are using Docker.
See, if you want to use the Kubernetes, you need to use the Docker. First thing.
Okay,
Okay. Without Docker or else without containers, you cannot work with the Kubernetes. Please keep this in the mind.
okay,
Docker
okay,
and Kubernetes are both are not separate entities. They are the same entities where Kubernetes is an enhanced version of your Docker. Simply. Okay. So
okay,
in Docker, you will run in a single instance. Docker, you can run in a single instance. But when you come to the Kubernetes, why we need to go for the Kubernetes? Let me tell you a small example. You are a developer. For example, you are a developer. You are developing an application. Now, whenever you are developing an application, if you are an inexperienced candidate, you don't have an experience and you are developing an application. Now, if you want to
okay.
develop that application, does it require more time and more efforts, or will it be completed with less time and less efforts? So what is the way of completing the software? As an inexperienced guy, you will take more time, and at
More
the
time.
same time, more it is more difficult for you. Okay. On the top
Yeah.
of you, if there is a manager, if
Okay.
there is a team, okay, just if there is a team, now
Okay.
the team will build the application and you will coordinate with the team, and manager will manage the entire team, right? So
Yeah.
now if you compare the application development, so in the first phase, it is a little bit difficult. When you come to the second phase, it is easily happening. Why? Because you are having a manager. If one guy is not there, if one developer is not present, he will manage with the another developer. If there is a delay in the application, he can manage that. So Kubernetes is like a orchestration tool where it is going to manage all your containers if for the high availability. Okay, if you see the Docker will be, we can install Docker in a single server. But when you come to the Kubernetes cluster will be created across multiple servers. There will be multiple worker nodes who will be working for the application. Where containers are going to be created is across the servers. Across the servers, we can create the containers. Same application containers will be created in multiple servers. So if one server is down, still you will have the application access from the another server. High availability will be there. So who will manage all these things? Kubernetes will manage that. Understood?
Means to control the Dockers means we required Kubernetes.
Containers, not for
Means
the
more. Means it is already created for
right,
Docker.
right one.
Okay. Means
Docker is
as a
not we are
developer.
working. Hold on. Docker is not we are working. We are working with the container.
Content.
Containers. That is the
Yeah.
word, not with the Docker. Docker is like a platform. That's it. Okay. So
Okay.
containers are created. Whatever the containers that are created, those will be managed by your Kubernetes.
Kubernetes. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So please remember this term called as containers, not the, what I can say, Docker.
Docker.
Of course,
Okay.
the Docker is like a facelift file, just like a text. If you want to read any book, how the cover will be helpful for you. But if you go inside the book, there will be so many characters, so many different emotions will be there inside the book. But when you see the book, so it should attract you to purchase the book. In the same manner, Docker is like a front page. Okay, so inside the Docker or container anyways, you are having the same containers only. Understood?
I mean, you can manage by the containers can manage by Docker or else Kubernetes.
Container can be managed by
Managed by
Docker
Kubernetes.
Swarm. Docker Swarm, I
Docker.
told you. Docker Swarm is also there. It is also an orchestration tool which will manage the container. See,
Okay.
if I say you, there is a student. Okay. So
Okay.
the student has to learn multiple subjects. Who will manage him? Maths teacher will manage him in the maths class. Science teacher
Nice.
will manage him in the science class. Okay. In the
Uh,
same manner, so containers can be managed by different type of orchestration platforms. So Docker Swarm is one of the orchestration platform. Kubernetes is one of the orchestration platform. OpenShift is one of the orchestration platform. Like that, there are so many orchestration platforms. Not a single platform is there. There are so many number of orchestrations to manage the container. Okay.
then when WSL is plays a role in Docker and Kubernetes.
That you will understand in the upcoming sessions.
Okay. Okay. Miss it. One more thing. Miss this WSL is specific with the Azure or AWS or
It is not a cloud dependent. It is totally the computer. You can run in your laptop also.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay.
Any further questions?
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay then. Have a nice day, and we'll meet in the next session, guys.